When we develop in Java, usually we make one thing after another, but if we want to just do it some things in parallel, the API from Java, it lets us to use threads. Threads is just a class or an interface that is called as enable that let us do an implementation in order to execute any code in a different thread in a parallel way. So in this video, we're gonna see like how to create a thread, an example of how to use it. So let's go. In this tutorial, we're gonna see an easy way to create a thread that is going to be counting till 5, and it's going to wait 1 second per each thread of the time that we specify by the constructor. So the first thing that we need to do is create a class, and this class we can call it example thread, and this class, this is public like example thread, is going to extend from the class thread in Java. So now what we can do is implementing the method run, and in run what we can do is counting till 5 and printing it through the console. So for example, we could create a for I that is counting till 5, and then we can use system out.println and says I plus seconds passed. And also what we can do is do a thread called sleep, and we set 1000 milliseconds. That this exactly means this thread is going to sleep 1 entire second. 1000 milliseconds is basically 1 second. We can surround it with try and catch, and then now we can just basically create 2 instances of our class example class. So for example, example class example1 equal to new example thread, and then example thread example2 equal to new example thread. So now what we're gonna do is call the method start. Please be aware that we should not call the method run. If we call the method run, it's going to execute the method that we have implemented, but we are not going to run it in a different thread. So in order to do that, we should use the method start. And then now we're going to use sample2 and call again the method start. Now we can just run our main class, and we can see in our console that each second is passing and twice. In order to see it more clear, we could just create 2 attributes, for example, string name and time millis, in order to pass these parameters by construction and indicate that, for example, the thread name, and then we can print the thread with the name of the thread and the seconds. Also with the time millis, we can specify now by construction which is the time that the thread need to wait. So now, for example, we can use the constructor and say example1 as the name, and we can indicate what we're gonna wait 1 second, but then example2 with the name is gonna wait 2 seconds. So if we run again our example, we can see in our console that the thread example2 is just waiting longer, 1 second longer in parallel with the thread example1, as you can see here in the console. So if we run again and show it the entire process, you can easily see now like that first they start at the same time, but then later you can see that this example1 is execute 1 second and 2 seconds, and then when it executes 2 seconds, the example2 it says 1 second pass. But it's the counting, not the second. So maybe we could just modify, and instead of seconds, we can say counted. And if we run again, then we will see maybe more clear what is going to happen, that it's for each time that we specify the first one 1 second and the second one 2 seconds, we can see the difference between the example1, that is the first thread, and the example2, that is the second thread, that the second thread it takes longer because it takes 2 seconds per each count. Meanwhile, the example1, it takes 1 second per each, even though it's in parallel each of them. Another way to implement thread using the interface runable. When we are using the implementation of runable, then we need to specify that we are going to use this new class inside and send it with a thread. For example, we create a thread that is example thread 1 is equal to new thread, and we send the example 1 by the constructor of the class thread, because this is an runnable. So we can send them the class that implements runnable that we specified here to the construction of the new thread. And in the same way, we can just use it as thread example thread 2 and create a new thread with example 2. So now we can use example thread 1 and example thread 2 calling start and executing our program again. And we can see the same result that we have previously, but instead of extending our class, we are implementing an interface. So I hope that you really like the video. Of course, if you have any comment or question, do not forget to add a comment in the comment section that I will try to answer it as soon as possible. And that is almost the basic of how to create a thread. I hope that you really like the video. So once again, I hope that you really enjoyed the video, and I see you in the next one. Bye!